For anyone that experienced a lot of hair shedding, then the first thing that you may do is panic. But what if it's also a sign of transitioning and not a sign of failure? In the book of chapter 4 of Esther, Esther is not ready, but there's still development that's taking place for her role as a queen. Your hair and identity must be formed first before it's revealed. And in today's video, I actually want to connect the dots between the book of chapter 4 of Esther 1 through 14, along with postpartum shedding and what happens during the anagen growth phase of your hair cycle, so you won't misinterpret your hidden growth season. So with that said, let's begin with today's video. Hello, beautiful. Welcome to Cultivating Inner Beauty. If you're new to this channel, then welcome, and go ahead and read the book of Esther. It's a beautiful story. It's not long, and you're still in the beginning of it if you're just now catching this video with me. So we are actually in chapter 4, and I'm going to give you my quick Cliff Note version of it. And this is only covering verses 1 through 14. So basically, Mordecai, he learns about Haman's plan, and Haman is along with King Xerxes. He's planning to get rid of the Jews, and Mordecai and Esther is a Jew. So Mordecai is extremely upset, not just him, but the Jews as well. Like everyone is crying and just weeping loudly. Mordecai, he's even wearing his sackcloth and ashes. Like everyone is taking it hard, as they should be. And some of them are even fasting in this situation. Esther, she learns about it from her attendants, and she offers to give Mordecai some clothes. He won't take it. He wants to live his emotions out proudly, and he's keeping on the sackcloth and ashes. And so as it continues, Hathach, who is actually one of King Xerxes' eunuchs, he becomes a messenger between Mordecai and Esther. And so Mordecai, he's basically begging Esther to talk to Mordecai. Mordecai is begging Esther to talk to King Xerxes because she's the queen. And she won't do it because there's a rule that you don't talk to the king unless you're called, and she's trying to lay low. He doesn't even know that she's a Jew. So she's just winging it in full of favor. She's in her happy place, and she don't want to disturb anything that's going on. But Mordecai, he comes back and he reminds her, you're a Jew also, so you're not exactly safe as well. And the Jews, they're going to get delivered one way or the other, with your help or without your help. And so this is the beginning of some interesting stuff. And so make sure you read that to get your own understanding. But I actually want to connect the dots between what is happening with Esther along with our hair, and also just to stay encouraged in that moment. And so I took a second to just reflect on what I've learned about Esther, and I came up with these 4 different stages or phases. And at first I was just thinking of chapter 4, and just to sum it up, there's emotions taking place, and there's identity, purpose, and growth that's happening in the development stage along with the chaos. And so I broke those down into those 4 different stages that we are going to talk about when it comes to our hair, and to stay encouraged in a moment. So the first stage is the growth. And so when it comes to Esther, she is experiencing growth. She has favor, as we see in the beginning when she's first introduced. She has favor as Mordecai's cousin. She already looks good. She's kind and just pleasing to talk to and everything. So she automatically has this favor. Then when we think about our own lives, I don't know about you, but just growing as a daughter and learning my role with the Lord and everything, it's a beautiful role to be in, a beautiful position to be in. You receive favor from the Lord, receive different blessings and opportunities, but it's just a beautiful place to be in. And so this is the greatest stage ever. And now when we talk about our hair, I think about the anagen phase, or that growth phase of our hair cycle. So this, my friend, is like the favorite phase of our hair. This happens goes on for 2 to 7 years, 7+ years. This is when your hair cycle your hair follicles is receiving great blood support. Like your hair is flourishing, it's receiving the right nutrients. it's in the right hormonal stability. Everything is like a perfect scalp environment for your hair to flourish. This is the greatest place you want your hair to be. And just because you don't see, dramatic length change, it doesn't mean that those follicles not building up strength. And so, yes, like I said before, this is a beautiful stage to be in. Next is the identity. So when we go back to Esther, she goes from just being Mordecai's cousin to now being a queen. This is a mindset shift. This is like I talked about how she had to go through preparation, the 12-month beauty treatment. This is a big upgrade. And I also thought about ourselves from identity as being a single woman to being a married woman to being a wife. Being a wife to being a mom. Like these are big identity changes. And so there's like a new mindset shift. There's like new people you have to be around, like the season change along with everything that's around you. And then when we get to our hair, what this looks like is postpartum shedding. And so with this, it starts off beautiful, like estrogen, that hormone, the female hormone, it actually extends the anagen, that growth phase of your hair during pregnancy. So this is why you see like a lot of pregnant women, their hair is like, looks very good and everything. But after delivery, that's when your hormones drop, including estrogen, which was very faithful during pregnancy. And then it drops and your hair cycle goes into that telogen phase or that shedding phase. And so shedding, it doesn't mean damage, but it could also mean transitioning. And so this is what happens during this time. So yes, it's a big identity change when your hair is like looking very nice to now shedding. But let's continue on. So the third stage I looked at was pressure. And so when it comes to Esther is adjusting, keeping her identity low or not revealing her identity. And the pressure is high because she's trying to maintain her identity as a queen without revealing her true identity as a Jew. And so everything is creating a lot of pressure for her. And then I looked at ourselves. Sometimes that pressure could look like being in a new territory. Like I said, becoming a mom, just getting into that new big role at this part of your life. This is a big change. And what I also thought about was our hair. And so what this looked like is stress and identity both affecting the growth phase. So you have chronic stress. You could either experience that day to day, or that also happens when after you deliver your baby or something. But that chronic stress, it elevates the stress hormone, cortisol, and this elevates stress. And cortisol, it actually, because the stress is elevated, cortisol actually shortens the anagen cycle. So, I said the anagen phase, it lasts from anywhere from 2 to 7 years, but cortisol, it actually shortens it. And that's what causes women to go into that telogen phase of their hair cycle. And so your inflammatory cytokines, they're signaling for the hair follicles to leave that growth part of your hair cycle. And seeing this could also make you shrink in your faith. It also make you shrink with your identity as well. Like you're not feeling like yourself. You're not who you were. And this is a lot. And so this could actually keep your nervous system activated. So it's not the best part. The pressure stage is not the best part. But let's continue. Lastly, we have the purpose stage. And so what I thought about with Esther's story, Mordecai is reminding Esther who she is. And brings us up to chapter 4. He's reminding her of who she is. And this also made me think of my purpose to you, which is to tell you that your purpose does not end. And I'm here to remind you of who you are and what you can do starting today to help flourish your hair for such a time as this. So your purpose is not just for you, but you have to stay encouraged to those behind you as well, or to those that you're supporting, like your child or your family. And so how do we do that? Well, first we have to support our nervous system. And how we do that, we stay grounded in the word by meditating and reading on the word daily, day and night. And also, just really releasing that stress and not holding on to stress. The second thing that how that looks like is nourishing your body to sustain anagen. So eating the right foods to stay in that growth phase. We want to stay in that growth phase. And so you want to nourish your body. And then another thing you could do is don't interpret shedding as a sign of rejection. The Lord has not given up on you. This is only a temporary thing. And for such a time as this, your hair and identity is developing in the hidden season. So even though you might not see the growth, there is growth that's happening. So I just want you to stay encouraged and know that even if you don't see how your hair is working behind the scenes, there is some things that's happening along with your identity as you're growing in Christ. So I pray that this video has helped you, and make sure you share with someone that comes to mind. Bye, beautiful.